So today we are going to discuss a few combination graphs or mixed graphs. I've started from the back end. There are about 20 or 22. I'll try to cover as many as possible now today because these students are just intimidated by these graphs. They feel that they are very difficult. Actually, it is not the case. They are not difficult at all. Yes, Jaskaran, you're the new student. Good, welcome. So we are going to discuss these combination graphs, and this is going to be an academic class. I hope you are all academic students. Any GT student here? All right. So look at this graph. This is one you can say is a column graph or a bar graph, and the second is a table. So such type of graphs we call as the combination graphs or the mixed graphs. There is nothing difficult in these, but you have to study how to write these. We are going to discuss. This was asked in November 2020, and these graphs are being repeated. So all the graphs, there are about 20 graphs in this book, which are combination graphs, which have been seen in the past. It's not a big number. You should go through all of them. The question here is the bar and table chart show the population size and the life expectancy in 3 countries in 1950, 2000, and 2050. Now, in this graph, you will learn how to use the language of the future, 2050. This is future, okay? How to write an introduction which has a future year also in it. You will learn that also. So first thing you do is first see both the graphs. This is of population size, that is how many people lived in a particular place, in a particular country, and in the 3 years given. And life expectancy in 1950, 2000, 2050. As such, there is no similarity in the two graphs. I mean, both are entirely different. One is of population size, other is of life expectancy. Life expectancy is when any child is born in any country, how many years is that child supposed to live? That is called life expectancy. The developed countries have very high life expectancy, and developing have less than that, and the underdeveloped countries have very low life expectancy. That shows the standard of the country also. If the life expectancy is high, the country is supposed to be developed country. Now let us see. This is 1950, 2000, 2050. How will you write the introduction? In the introduction, never write 1950 to 2050 because then everything will go in the past and 2050 is the future. So in such questions, when there's one future year given, this is the best way to write the introduction. The given column and table graph. The given column and table. The given column, graph, and table. You can put the word here. The given column, graph, and table compare the population and life expectancy of China, the USA, and Spain in 1950 and 2000, and also give projections for the year 2050. So there are also projections for this year. You can write also give projections for the future, or you can write also give projections for the year 2050. Okay, you can write anyways. So you can see how to frame the intro. Never write the bar graph and table like life expectancy in 1950. From many students write from 1950 to 2050. If you write like this, it is correct. In 1950, 2000, and 2050 is correct because then this is future. Here I have written it in 1950 and 2000, and also give projections for the year 2050. So this is in fact also paraphrasing your statement over there. So this will be a very good introduction statement to make for any graph in which a future year is given. Is that clear? All of you? I've tried to make it very, very simple. Then we have this overview. Overview, China had the maximum, whereas Spain had the lowest population in 1950 and 2000. And in future also the situation is estimated to remain the same. Okay. Now, China had the maximum. You can see China had the maximum and Spain had the lowest population. Okay. In 1950 and 2000. You can see in both the years, China had the maximum. If you compare this 1950, this is 700, this is 200, this is 100. So the maximum. China 1200, This is 300 in, sorry, 2000, 1200, 300 and 120. Again, maximum. This is 2050 in the future. So this is for future. See how I've put up the statement here. China had the maximum. Had will say I'm talking of the past. Whereas Spain had the lowest population in 1950 and 2000. So had word will be suitable. If I'm writing only about 1950 and 2000, then I've written, and in future also the situation is estimated to remain the same. In future also, China will have the maximum. The future also, it is estimated that the situation will be same. Okay? Is that clear? Also, the life expectancy of China was less than that of the US and Spain and is expected to be less than the US and Spain in future also. Now look at here the life expectancy. China 48.2, 68, 70. Less than both these countries. Here 69, 72, 82.6. Less, right? And in future also it is 60, 70, 80. It is going to be less. So is that clear? Both statements, both graphs, just you put in the overview. So it becomes even simple. Make one sentence from this and make one sentence from this graph. Is it clear? I hope.
Could you repeat?
Which one? What do you want me to repeat?
Ma'am, future.
Yes. See, in future also, here you can see population was maximum in China and it's expected to be maximum in future also. The same trend is expected to be there in the future also. Here, life expectancy of China is less than these two, US and Spain, 48, 69, 63. Isn't it less than these two in 1950? Here also it is less than these two, right? And here also it is less than these two. So the life expectancy of China was less than that of the US and Spain and is expected to be less than the US and Spain in future also. That is it. Is expected to be. Here I have written is estimated to. Here I have written is expected to. Somewhere you can say is projected to. Somewhere you can say is forecast to. So learn these words. Is estimated to, is expected to, is forecast to, is projected to, is predicted to. Write these 4 or 5 things. If you get a graph of the future, you will need these words. Okay? Now what I have done is I've made one paragraph of population and one paragraph of life expectancy. I have not tried to mix them up because I've seen students mix up comparing population size with life expectancy. Then, sometimes things go wrong in the middle when they are trying to do that. So I would suggest make 2 paragraphs of separately of population and of life expectancy. Let us see. In 1950, the population of China, the USA and Spain was this and this million respectively. Now, another thing you must learn, take note of this. Whenever you write a number and with that you write a word million or thousand, okay, it is never millions, never thousands when there is a number next to the word. Is it clear? बोलो, समझ आ रही है कि नहीं?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
It grew to 1200, 300 and 120 million in 2000 respectively. So it grew to what? 1200, 300 and 120 million in 2000 respectively, right? However, see, we are talking of only the year 1950 and then we are talking of the year 2000. That is why I'm using the past tense. Is it clear? However, the future predictions show that while the population of China and US will increase, future predictions kya show kar rahi hai? Population of China and US will increase. See, it is 7, 12, 15, 200, 300, 400, it increase. But here, 100, then 120, and then it has fallen in the future. So, future predictions show that while the population of China and the US will increase to 1500 and 400 million, that of Spain would fall by 10 million and reach 110 million. Okay? So whenever there is a number With that, if I use the word million, I will never say 10 millions or 110 millions. That would be wrong. These are the mistakes that are corrected in the, when the examiner will check your task. These are the mistakes that come out mostly. So you have to avoid this. Now, looking at this one table, the life expectancy of China, the US, and Spain was this, and this years, respectively, in 1950. Whenever there is life expectancy, even if this years is not written, this figure is always years. You should know this is common sense, general knowledge. What if I say life expectancy is 50? I don't use the word years. It should be understood that it is years only. So whenever there is any graph where there are a couple of graphs in which life expectancy is written, but the word years is not given in the brackets. So you have to put it years from your own self. Okay, years. It rose sharply in China by 20 in 2000. Now it rose sharply in China by 20. Now what does the preposition by mean? By 48.2, 68.2. By 20 means I have minus 68.2 minus 48, that is 20. Or you can say I've added 20 in 48.2, it became 68.2. When you have to do a minus or plus, then you use the preposition by. Okay? By 20. Suppose
Excuse me, ma'am, the amount is subtracted will be with by.
even added will be by.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
See, here I have written is it rose. So it is added, right? I could write it fell sharply by 20. Then if I had written it fell sharply by 20, it would mean here the figure should be 28.2. Then it would be fell sharply. So it rose sharply by. By means you are adding or subtracting. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And if I had to write 2 in place of by, then what figure would I put it here? So if I had to write, it rose sharply in China to, to how many years? To this in 2000, what will I write? To, what will I write? To 68.2, right? It rose sharply to 68.2 by 2000. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Preposition to and by, very important to learn. You have to use them correctly. At places you can use to, at places you can use by. Okay? So I hope that is clear. Okay? To and by. These are the things which, stand out when you get a 7 or 7 plus. Using the prepositions correctly. If it is by, you have to minus or plus. If you say rose by, you will add. If you say fell by, you will minus. Okay? And is expected to rise to 72 by 250. And is expected to rise to 70.2. Is that clear? Because I wrote 2, so I use the exact figure. And I use the vocabulary for future and is expected to rise to. Okay? The life expectancy of the US and Spain went up by 3 years and 10 years in 2000. See, the life expectancy of US and Spain went up by 3 years. 69 to 72 is 3. And this is 10 years. 60 to 70 is 10. By 3 and 10 years in 2000. And is expected to rise further to nearly 82 and 80 by 2050. And is expected to. So I have written the word expected to so many times. What can I write in place of expected here? I can write projected. Is that forecasted? Clear? Forecast. Forecasted is no. See, forecast. Forecasted is wrong. Okay. Similarly, broadcast. Broadcasted is wrong. Telecast, both same. So telecasted is wrong. So just see this, okay?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Forecast can be written for that because forecast I thought is only for the weather.
No, you can write forecast here
We
also.
can write.
Yes.
Okay, right. Okay. And ma'am, one more question. In the
Yes.
third paragraph, however, the future prediction show, you use will at the first part of the sentence, and after that you use would. Can we use both of them like for
Yes.
future?
Yes.
There is no difference?
Will is for more surety, would is for less surety. You can write both, it doesn't matter. Very minor difference.
Okay, ma'am.
See, if I say it will rain tomorrow, it means there are 70-80% chances of rain that it will rain tomorrow. It would rain tomorrow, 20-30% chances it will rain tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, but in task
Here
one,
it
there is
doesn't.
not
Task
much
one, it
difference.
doesn't matter. Task one, it doesn't. Both are for future, basically. Here we
Okay,
are implying the future. Okay. And
okay,
we have written predicted or projected or estimated or forecast. So it doesn't matter. You can write
okay.
both.
Ma'am, may I see the first paragraph also? Okay, so here you combine graph and table together. We can write separately.
Yes, you can write separately. The column graph shows this and the table shows that. You can write that.
Okay. And ma'am, we don't need to write respectively when we combine together. Suppose the population and life expectancy of China respectively. We don't need to
You can
write.
use that. You can use that.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. And ma'am, in second paragraph, in future, this future shouldn't have the article.
And in the future also, and in future also. In the future, both are correct.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
Normally it is the present, the past, the future. But here it is, actually, if I'm honestly telling you, sometimes both are correct. In future also, it's not, it's not wrong. In the future also, in the future is also correct here. That's it.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, मैम
Yes.
मैम जब हम रिस्पेक्टिवली वर्ड को यूज करते हैं तो हमें इसको एग्जैक्ट फिगर के साथ यूज करना है
No, it means there are two things you have mentioned first and the two things you have mentioned after that. Okay.
ओके
The
मैम
first thing you mentioned in the first part is corresponding to the first thing in the second part. And the second thing in the first part is correspond. So here, like column graph and table. Column graph is representing population and table is representing life expectancy. It is not necessary it should be a figure here. Only then you can write respectively.
ओके मैम
Okay, clear ho gaya?
यस मैम
Okay, now we go to this graph. Okay, this is also, it was also seen in 2020. The bar and pi, this is a bar and this is pi. They show the carbon dioxide released in the atmosphere by different income groups in 1990 and 2000. See, emission of CO2 in atmosphere by income groups in 2000. Low income group, how much CO2 did they emit? 13%. High income group, 63%. Middle income group, 24%. And this chart is on the, this chart is based on the, this has, 1990 and 2000. This is comparing the CO2 emission in the 2 years. This is only for 2000 CO2 emitted. See here in 2000, this is how much? 13%. You can see, oh, this is not 13 here. This is percentage and this is metric tons. So this is different. Okay. So even the units are different. So there's no comparison like that. This is CO2 emitted by all the income groups in, this is in pie chart form in 2000. And here it is in the CO2 emitted in metric tons by high income, middle income and low income in 1990 and 2000. Okay. And remember one thing, all these graphs have been reproduced by my students after they came out of the hall. For example, this student, one of my students got it from who was from Abu Dhabi. Okay, online student. He took the test and he shared his question with me. And on my insistence, he drew the graph. He said, "Ma'am, I can't remember the exact figures, but it was something like that." So you may get different figures in the exams. Okay, the same graph will be repeated for you, but you may get slightly different figures. Okay, in the exams. So keep a watch on that and learn how to write the graph as it is and not mug up the facts and figures or the sentences. Okay. So here, let us see how to handle it. The pie chart shows the emission of CO2 by different income groups in 2000, and the column graph illustrates the CO2 emission in metric tons in 1990 and 2000. Okay. So here it is the percentage of CO2 emitted by different income groups, and here it is the CO2 emitted in metric tons in 1990 and 2000. There's a comparison of all different income groups, high income, middle income, and low income groups. Okay. So how will you write the introduction? You will take some things from the question and some things from here. So bar and pie show the amount of CO2, emission of CO2 in the atmosphere by different income groups in 2000, and the pie chart. See here, Nafisa, I have written separately for both. The pie chart shows this and the bar graph shows it. You can write, because here there are 2 years. Here there's only 1 year. You cannot combine both. You will have to write them separately.
Yes,
okay. Overall, the maximum emission was from high income group. Maximum emission, you can see high income group. Okay. Whereas the minimum was from low income group. Minimum was from low income group. In both the given years, also. Okay. In both the given, it is only in 1 year here. So I think I should not write in both the given years here. Because first pie chart is not showing both years, okay? Also, while this is just from the pie chart, maximum was from high income and middle income was the minimum. Now, this is in metric tons. Here you can see 2 years are there. So I will try to frame a sentence showing the trends here. Can you see the trends here also? While the emission from high and middle income group increased, high income group emission increased, middle income group emission increased, low income group emission decreased. So while the emission from high and middle income groups increased, that from the low income decreased in the given period. So this is the sentence of trends. The overview is the most important and the most scoring part of the IELTS writing task 1. Okay. Whenever there is more than one time given, try to incorporate one sentence of trends. Trend is a change over time. So here increased, decreased, or fluctuated word will come. All right. So now let us see how here again I've made 2 paragraphs, one for the pie chart and one for the column graph. I've not mixed both because that creates a problem. Many students cannot do that. And okay. Looking at the pie chart in more detail, in 2000, approximately 2/3. Now this is a specific vocabulary of the pie charts. I'll tell you the complete vocabulary of pie chart. Supposing there is 63 here, it is, what is 2/3 and what is 1/3 of 100? Tell me. 1/3 is?
33%.
2/3 is 66. If it is 63, I have written slightly less than 2/3. Approximately 2/3 emission of CO2 were from the high income group. So I can write approximately 2/3 for this. You can write that, right? For 24, what will you write? 24. What can you write?
1/4 or a quarter.
A quarter. Just under a quarter. Just under a quarter or nearly a quarter or approximately a quarter. You can write anything. Okay. 13, you can write just 13 like that. Okay. So this is typical vocabulary of pie charts. You should incorporate it at a couple of places when you get a pie chart. Okay. So in 2000, approximately 2/3 emissions of CO2 were from the high income group, a quarter were from the middle income group, and only 13% were from the low income group. Is the whole pie chart finished in one sentence? Yes. Okay. Now we come to the bar graph. The column graph shows that the CO2 emissions from the high and middle income group increased from 20 and 16 metric tons in 1990 to 24 and 18 metric tons in 2000. So this shows that emissions from high and middle income group increased from 20 and 24 in 20, and this is what? 16. 20 and 16 metric tons in 1990. See, 20 and 16 metric tons in 1992, 24 and 18 metric tons by 2000. Is that clear statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Emission means जो कोई emit करती है चीज, emission हो गई किसी चीज की, okay? By contrast, in the low income group, the emissions fell from 14 to 12 metric tons between 1990 and 2000. By contrast लिखने का मौका मिल गया मुझे. See here, the emissions increased. In this case, the emissions decreased over time. So I can write by contrast because it is going opposite direction, right? By contrast, in the low income group, emissions fell from 12 to 14 metric tons between 1990 and 2000. Now here you learn that between, always with between the word and will come. Always with from the word to will come. To. Okay, that is it. So between.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
In this passage, we did the comparison within the groups. So we can do it between the groups, like, I mean, like two graphs are given, and if there is no connection between them, we shouldn't compare these two together. I mean, like the bar chart and the pie chart in this.
Oh, Nafisa, you can. If you have the ability to do it, you can. Here you can. It's not that it's not recommended, but I have seen when I mark the notebooks, I've seen that many students then, fail to start a comparison in the two charts, and somewhere in the middle of the graph writing, they fail to do it again for other things, and then it becomes a blunder. It doesn't come out so well. So
Okay.
this method is foolproof method. They'll not go wrong.
But ma'am, if we can handle it, we can add it. We can add it to the next paragraph, or
yes, you can compare. See, you can compare low income, middle income of this pie chart with this, bar graph, and high income in one separate thing in the second paragraph. Both things you can do like that. Okay. But in some graphs, you will see there is a clear comparison in the two graphs given. There you should compare together. In some, there is no clear comparison, like in this. There is another graph here in which one pie chart is of world forest and another of world timber. I would suggest not mixing up the two things. Forest, one paragraph, timber, another paragraph. Both are different. Okay. Then let us come. We are doing them all. Let us see.
How will be the shape of that? I mean, like BP1 will be like one graph, BP2 will be another graph.
That is what I have done here. No, only two paragraphs in all. In BP1, we will mix one or two things of this and this together. In BP2, one or two things of this and this together.
Okay, ma'am, got it.
You can't make three paragraphs unnecessarily.
Okay.
It will make the graph very lengthy, and you will also be mixing up things. This book doesn't have a PDF to share. I'm sorry. You must purchase the book. It is there in the markets everywhere. Right? Okay. Now, this graph also was seen during the COVID times, and it was seen more than once in the same year. These are three graphs. One is of global population. This is global population of the whole globe from 1400 to 2000. This is how the global population was distributed. I mean, if the global population was 1400 billion, in the year 1400, if it was 0.5 billion, then how it was distributed. But here, this is of 1900. This is the global population distribution of only the year 1900, when the global population was 1 million. Okay. So this is only of the year 1900 global population, not of any other year. So you cannot mix these two and write together. Remember that. Okay. And then this is global population distribution of 2000. This is global population distribution of 1900, and this is of 2000. So this is the global population distribution, like the global population was 1 million. Out of that 1 million, how much population was there is here. And here the global population in the year 2000, just after 100 years, this is 5 billion. And how that 5 billion was distributed is given in this graph. So here you can make a comparison of these two together and write. It increased by, you can give one paragraph you can describe the whole of 1900, and in the second paragraph, you will write only increased, decreased word and write about the global population distribution in all these areas. For example, if you give the figure in the first paragraph that Latin America had 2.5% population share of the total population, here you will say in Latin America, the total population increased by 2.5%. Okay? Or doubled. The population of Latin America doubled in the span of 1 century. It is 1900, it is 2000. So what is the span? 100 years, or you can write it 1 century. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the name of the book is IELTS Graphs from the Past Exams. Okay. So now let us see how we've written it. The given line, here I have made 3 paragraphs, you know, 1 paragraph for this, 1 for this, and 1 for this. Let's see. The given line graph illustrates the population of the whole world between 1400 and 2000, and the pie charts illustrate the distribution of population in different areas of the world in 1900 and 2000. Okay, line graph illustrates the population of the whole world, and the pie charts the distribution of population in 1900 and 2000. So the line graph illustrates the population of the whole world, global, I've changed whole world, and the pie charts show the population distribution in 1900 and 2000. Is the introduction line clear?
Yes, ma'am.
These are combination graphs, so you are learning how to write the introductions and how to go about writing the body paragraphs, okay? Let's see. Overall, the population was fairly stable from 1400 to 1900, but after that, there was a dramatic rise till 2000. See, population was fairly stable from 1400 to 1900, fairly stable. But after that, there was a dramatic rise. There was a dramatic rise. Okay, dramatic rise. You can write like that. Okay. Second line is also, while the population of Eurasia fell, that of all other given regions increased from 1900 to 2000. Now you will find that there is nothing like Eurasia here. Is there anything like Eurasia in this? I have written the population of Eurasia fell, but it increased of all
That's
other
Europe? No.
Europe and Asia. We call it Eurasia. Very interesting, right? What are these words called, in which 2 words combine to make 1 word? These are called suitcase words. You open a suitcase, it opens in 2 parts, right? And you close it, it becomes 1. Have you heard the word modem? What 2 words has the word modem come from? Modulator, demodulator, right? Okay, brunch. What are the 2 words? This one.
Breakfast and lunch.
Very good. Very good. Fantabulous. What are the 2? You must have heard this word many times being used by that Gita Ma in that dance
Fantastic
competitions.
and fabulous.
Fantastic and fabulous.
Fantastic and fabulous. Yes. Can you tell me any other word that's a suitcase word? Have you heard the word motel? Just like hotel. Just like hotel, there is a word motel. It is written on roadside dhabas, motel. Have you read it?
No, ma'am.
Which 2 words is it formed from? It is, you know, you stop at a roadside dhaba, there's written motel instead of hotel. Okay? Motel. That means when you stop there in your car, they clean your car, motor car, and it's a hotel. You have your meal over there. Okay? Motel. These are ways when words come up from. Anyways, this is a digression. I'll go back to the graph. Okay. So Eurasia I've mentioned, you can see Asia population fell 64-52. Europe population fell 25 to 23. So the population of whole of Eurasia fell, but that of other places increased. You may not write Eurasia. You may write here, you may write, while the population of Europe and Asia fell, that of all other given regions increased from 1900 to 2000. Is it clear now? Now, in 1400, the global population stood at 0.5 billion and remained stable till 1700. From 1700 to 900, there was a minimal growth of 1 billion, after which the population rocketed to 5.5 billion by 2000. Population was 0.5 billion from 1400 to 1700. Then it rose to 1 billion. It increased by 1 billion, I've written. Okay, it has increased slightly less than 1 billion, but okay, 1 billion by this year. Increase 2, I should write, not by. Have I written 2 or by? There was a minimal growth to 1 billion. 2, then it is correct. See, there was a minimal growth to 1 billion. Here it is 1 billion. Minimal growth till 1900 to 1 billion. But after that, I used another phrase, increased dramatically. Here I have written rocketed. Now rocketed is also, it also means the same, increased dramatically. After which the population rocketed to 5.5 billion by 2000. Rocketed is one word for increased dramatically. I have written the word increased dramatic rise. There was a dramatic rise. Okay. So the population rose dramatically. The population rocketed. Understood? Rocketed word, if you may not use it, you can say population rose significantly, considerably. Okay. You can write any such thing. In 1900, Asia had almost 2/3 of the world population. Asia में कितनी थी world population की? 2/3. This is 2/3, almost 2/3, which was the highest. Europe had a quarter of the share of world's population. See, Asia had almost 2/3, Europe had a quarter, and all the other places, Africa, North America, Latin America, and other regions together combined had less than a quarter. Let's see. While Africa, North America, Latin America, and other regions had a population of this, and this respectively. Is that clear now? One paragraph of 1900. And in the 2000 paragraph, I will use fell, increased, and just give the other figures. Okay. So in 2000, the population of Asia and Europe fell by 12 and 2%. See, the population of Asia fell by 12% and population of Europe fell by 2%. By. So are you noting the preposition by?
Yes, ma'am.
If I had written fell to, then what would be the figure after 2?
64 or
52.
and
52. Fell to
52 and 23.
52. Okay, and fell to 23%. But fell by 12 and 2%. Okay.
2%.
By contrast, the population of Africa, North America, Latin America, and other regions increased by, again I've used by, so I've minused or plussed, by 6%, 4%, 2.5%, and 1.5%. See, it is 10. Here it is 4. By 6%, 6 and 2, 4%. 5 and 2.5 is 2.5%. And 4 and 2.5 is 1.5%. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can we use the word drastically also?
Drastically has a negative connotation. Okay.
Okay.
Drastically has a negative connotation. The population rose drastically. Drastically is, I want to open my dictionary. Okay, just one sec. I come across this many times. So drastically word, I don't know if this dictionary will have that. This is a new dictionary that I've purchased. Drastically. Drastically, okay. Drastically. It should be written here that it is a negative term. Adverb in a way that is likely to have a strong or far-reaching effect. Now her fortunes have changed drastically. Management layers will be drastically reduced. Extremely, very. The ending was drastically different from what I had expected. Here they haven't written it's a negative connotation. Let's see. Likely to have a stronger, far-reaching effect, radical and extreme, a drastic reduction. See, wherever they have used it, they have used a reduction word or decreased word after that. Drastically reduced, drastic reduction. So it's a negative connotation. Don't use it for something which you are writing, which is positive. Okay.
Ma'am, can we use dramatically for increase and drastically for decrease, sudden decrease?
See, if it is something bad which has fallen, then it should be good in your eyes. So you drastically would, so you can say pollution has decreased drastically would be wrong. See, if you say CO2 emissions have decreased drastically, that is a good thing, na? They have decreased.
You mean that the kind of consequence of that should be
Positive, negative
positive.
to have it
Yes.
put the word drastically. Got it? Drastic has a negative connotation. Okay? Negative connotation means that if you must use it where you are saying that something, drastically means it was something good, but it fell drastically, so it's bad for the overall effect. Okay? Drastic has a negative connotation. Here the population has increased. Okay? Although an increase in population, now we think that it's a population boom, but increasing population means the mortality rate has gone down, people are living longer, so the population has increased. It should not be taken as a negative thing. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the graph, and this was seen on 10th October 2020, Saudi Arabia. Okay. Now let us see this graph. This is a line graph and a pie chart. Now let us see what is the similarity in the two. If there's any similarity, we have to figure that out. This was also seen during the COVID times. All these to India. These graphs you may see now, okay? The charts below show the time for which immigrants stayed in the UK and reasons for their migration to the UK. Okay. Now here it is how long they stayed in the UK. And this is why they went to the UK in the first place. Reasons for migration to the UK. I would like to teach you 3 words here. This is a general vocabulary. It should be there for all of you. So let me teach you those 3 words. Those 3 words are immigrate, emigrate, and migrate. Can anybody tell me the difference in these 3?
Ma'am, migrate is, I think, to somewhere, means like to the destination.
Yes.
Emigrate is from somewhere.
Okay, and immigrate?
Immigrate, I think, like means immigration means like moving from somewhere to somewhere else without considering
Immigrate is to. Immigrate is to. Emigrate is from. So all of you are taking the IELTS because you are wanting to immigrate to Canada or Australia or New Zealand, and this is to, but temporarily. Okay, temporarily. For example, you immigrate to a place, you are all wanting to immigrate to Canada or to Australia or to New Zealand. You are emigrating from India, okay, to Australia. So it is emigrate from, immigrate to, okay, and migrate is when you go to a new place to settle for temporary period of time. So students, when you as a student go, you are migrants. Once you clear that immigration test, you become immigrants. Got it? And when you go, you are emigrating from India. Is that clear? Are the 3 words clear? Not? Then let me know. I'll make them clear. See here, let me write. Migrate. Migrate is, this is animals, birds going according to the seasons, temporary, okay? Moving one part of something to another, migrate, migrator, moving from one place to another, shifting. Migrate from, this is temporary. Okay. So, and immigrate is, migration is seasonal. That is it. Then immigrate. To live permanently in a foreign country. That is immigrate. Okay. And emigrate. Emigrate. I use the word emigrate. Emigrate is leave one's own country in order to settle permanently in another. So Rose's parents emigrated to. You immigrate to another place and emigrate from. This, I don't know why they're putting it like this. The other Oxford dictionary is much better, but that edition is not there for this. So emigrate from, immigrate to, and migrate for temporary purposes. This is the main difference. Okay. This can help in your reading. Okay. Okay. So we come to this graph again. So here, this graph is how long the immigrants intended to stay. Supposing you go to UK today for some visa, 2-year visa, holiday work maker visa, HWM visa is there, 2-year or 5-year. Then that is, this is up to 2 years. How many go and stay just for up to 2 years? How many go to stay between 2 and 4 years? And how many go to stay for 4 to 6 years? This is the number. So how long the immigrants intended to stay. So this is up to 2 years, 2 to 4 years, and 4 to 6 years. Okay. And this is the number of immigrants. Okay. That is there. Now, reasons for migration to the UK. How many went for work? How many went for study? How many went for job or to accompany a family? How many, with the family? How many went for no specific reason? And how many went for other reasons apart from all these reasons? Okay. Now let us see. The line and pie chart illustrate information about reasons why people immigrated to the UK and also the time immigrants stayed there between 2001 and 2008. So these are the years given, 2001 and 2008, and these are the reasons why they went there. Overall, the maximum immigrants stayed in the UK for up to 2 years throughout the given period. This is up to 2 years. And you can see the maximum immigrants, okay, stayed for the entire period. The maximum stayed there for up to 2 years. Up to 2 years means 2 years or less than 2 years. Okay. Also, most of the migrants migrated to the UK for employment. So most of them migrated to the UK for employment. Here you can see this is for work. This is the maximum percentage. Now, most of them went for employment. You can say that. Now, in detail, in 2001, nearly 160,000 of the visitors came to the UK with the intention of staying for up to 2 years. Up to 2 years. This is 150 se thoda upar hai, 160,000 have written. Fine. While about 100,000 moved for 2 to 4 years, moved to stay for 2 to 4 years, and 50,000 for and 60,000 stayed between 4 and 6 years. Although there were some fluctuations by 2008, now I have put a line here. Although there were some fluctuations by 2008, all right, the numbers had risen to this for the people staying up to 2 years. This for here, the number had risen to 270,000 for those staying up to 2 years, nearly 140,000 for 2 to 4 years, and more, and about 125,000 for between 4 and 6 years. Now, what have I done here? I have given one sentence of all the three figures in the initial year. Okay. And then in the second sentence, I have written for the figures for 2008, because see, there is not much to write in between. Is it clear? So I've just condensed it in 2 sentences, the whole line graph. Okay. the maximum immigrants came to the UK for work with a proportion of 38%. What else you can write for 38%? Now let me know whether you know the vocabulary of pie charts.
Ma'am, 2/5.
Nearly 2/5, yes. For 32?
1/3.
Just under a third you can write, or approximately 1/3.
Almost a third.
For 16? You can write just 16, or you can write a little under a fifth. You can say 20 and 16, just under a fifth. Anyways, you don't need to write it for all. You can just say the maximum immigrants came to the UK for work with a proportion of 38%. This was followed closely by those who came for study, with just 6% less respondents citing this reason. So this is the maximum came for work with a figure of 38%, or I could write the maximum in bracket, I can write almost 2/5. Okay. This was followed closely by those who came for study, with just 6% less citing this reason. Nearly 1/6 of the migrants moved to the UK for joining family members who already lived there. This is 1/6. Okay. And or accompanied someone in their family. 7% cited some other reasons, and the same proportion cited no particular reason. So these 7% gave some reason or the other. They had some reason. For example, they could have said for their treatment, for their cancer treatment, or they could have said something, but you don't need to mention that. They gave a reason, and 7% said no reason, just like that. Just like that. Okay, this is it. So this is it. This is how you explain. You can write one para for this and one for this. That is the easiest way to explain a combination graph. If there is a similarity, you can mention that. Okay, that is it. Let us see this graph. This is average number of years spent at school. Okay. Regarding education in Singapore between 2002 and 2010. So first graph shows the average number of years spent in school, how many years they spent in school. For example, in 2002, adult males and adult females, they spent around 7-8 years in school. And Mittu is tired now. Mittu wants me to play. No, Mittu. Abhi jao bahar. Chalo. Go. रूप को ढूंढो, जाओ रूप को ढूंढो, रूप कहाँ है, ढूंढो ढूंढो ढूंढो, जाओ, go, चलो. So this is average number of years spent in school, and this is people who opted for education in 2002 and people who opted for it in 2010. So what sort of education they opted? University level, below secondary and diploma and skill level. Let us see how to write it. The given bar and pie charts illustrate the number of years adult males and females spent on education between 2000 and 2010. See? And also the level of education completed by adults in 2002 and 2010. So how many years adult males and females stayed in school in 2000, from 2002 to 2010, and the level of education they completed in 2002 and 2010. Is that correct? Is that clear? This is the level of education. Kitno ne below secondary complete kari, kitno ne secondary kari, how many did diploma and skill level, how many did university level education in 2002, and the same 4 things in 2010. Okay, overall the number of years of schooling went up for both genders with time. So number of years of schooling went up for both genders with time. In addition, see, you can see level of number of years. देख लो, ये धीरे धीरे बढ़ा है ना for both genders. The number of years they spent at school increased over time for both genders. You can write this as a gist. And you can also write one more thing. Almost equal percentage of men and women spent, they were in school. Right?
Yes.
You can write that also. And then you can say second sentence, you have to compare. These are again the 2 years. You can say, in addition, while the maximum adults had just completed secondary education in 2002, here it is secondary education, maximum. Okay. The maximum adults had completed diploma and skill level in 2010. See, diploma and skill level here. This is 19 and this is almost double. And secondary here is 38, here it's 26. So the maximum did completed secondary in 2002, the maximum completed diploma and skill level in 2010. Okay. You can also write a sentence of trends here. That sentence is missing. What will be the sentence of trends here? You can say, let us put arrows here. Below secondary 28 and below secondary 9. Should I put upward arrow or downward arrow here?
Downward. Downward.
Downward. Where is that draw? Okay. So I will put a downward arrow here. Okay. Okay. Now here, secondary, 38 and 26.
Downward.
Again,
Downward.
Okay. Diploma and skill level,
upward.
Upward.
university level.
Upward.
So what can be the sentence of trends here? Which would be the best to put? Instead of this line, in addition, so while this, while to मैं लिखूंगी. While the students opting for below secondary and secondary education fell. Okay. Those opting for diploma and university level rose with time. So second sentence is of trends. Is that sentence clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now it is better, right? Better overview than the past overview which I'd written. So here you can make arrows like that and write accordingly. The bar graph shows that in 2002, an on average adult males had studied for 8.2 years, while the figure for adult females was 8 years. So in 2002, okay? Adult males studied for 8.2 had nahi aana. While the figure for adult females was 8 years. So it is 8.2 and this is 8. Very similar, you can say almost same. And then here also, let's see. The number went up continuously over the years, with males' years of education standing at 11.8 and female at 11 years by 2010. So after these figures, I've written they rose steadily, and then I've given the figures for this year. That is all. That is all I've given about the bar graph. In all the given years, the average years of education completed by males was slightly higher than females. Okay. So average years of education, this is for males. So this is slightly higher, slightly higher, slightly higher, slightly higher, and slightly higher. So overall, males, the level of education completed by males was slightly higher than females. Is that correct? Is that clear?
Ma'am,
Yes.
is there any issue that here we didn't add any number or any figure here?
We have given the figures, 8.2
No,
years.
ma'am, at the end. slightly higher than females. I mean,
it is slightly higher. That is, 8.2, 8. Here it is 11.8, 11. So it is slightly higher. You don't have to give figures. Slightly means very slight difference. Okay? Don't have to give figures. Throughout, it was slightly higher. Okay. The pie chart show that about 27% adults didn't complete their secondary education in 2002. 2002, below secondary. They didn't complete secondary. Okay, in 2002. And this fell to a mere 9% by 2010. So this fell to a mere 9% by 2010. So here I have taken this figure and given this figure side by side. I didn't make two paragraphs for this pie chart and this pie chart. I'm doing them both together. Okay. The percentage who left education after completing secondary school also fell from 38.1% to 25% over the given time. 38% to 25% over the given time. Okay. It is 38%, not 38.1. To 25% to 26%. Okay. By contrast, the proportion who got their diploma and those who went for university education rose from 18.7% to 27.8%. From 18.7, see, figures are different. I must have changed them later on. 18.7 here to, so what is this here? 18.7, what is the figure here? 19%. I'll just correct it also. 19% to 27.8% to 28%. And 15.6, 15% to, this is 28%. 19% to 28%. 19% to
37.
This is diploma and those. Acha, this is diploma and for university education rose from diploma is from 19 to 37%. This is wrong here, no?
Yes, ma'am.
37%. And from 15% to 28%. Here it should be 28%.
I got stuck here. What's happening?
Yeah, this is confusing. I'm sorry. So now it is correct. See again. If there's anything wrong, I can correct it again. I think now it is fine, right? This should be 28%. It is 28. And it fell to 9. 38 to 26, that is correct. And this is 19 to 37 is correct now. And 15 to 28 is correct. All right. So this was the class of today. We've discussed quite a few graphs, combination graphs, and you've come to know these are not difficult. We have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 today. Overall 20 are there. You can read the rest. Heth, I think now there'll be no problem. Tomorrow you can go through the rest of the graphs. You have the book with you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You can go. And I would like to introduce you to a real talent in our group.